Good morning, dear subscribers. I'm really happy to be with you. And I'm on holidays. You see the blue sky here. I'm in France, but I'm still with you. I must say, I forgot to check how many read with me last week, so I don't know. And I have to warn you also, I'm not very concentrated. I've been chilling for a few days now. And also, something else is that the two pages we are going to read now are quite descriptive and almost nothing is happening. I don't know if you remember that Jean Valjean, so he woke up, opened the door towards the door of the bishop, and there he is standing and not moving a lot. So it's two very, very descriptive pages. So please keep going. Even if it's difficult, you do not have to know all the adjectives we are reading. But this is a great, great French book. And if you read in this book, you will feel you are really in, what shall I say, in the best parts of the French culture. Okay, so he's talking about the door, ouverte toute grande. So this door between his room and the bishop's room finally was wide open. Toute grande means wide open. And remember, there had been a terrible sound. The hinge was making a terrible sound. Il se hasarda à regarder dans la chambre. So se hasarda means he ventured to look into the room. Rien n'y avait bougé. Nothing had bougé, moved there. And the there is the little word means there. So this is because this hinge made so much noise that he was sure the whole house was going to be up and up in arms. But it's not the case. Il prêta l'oreille. So, he prêter l'oreille means to listen. He opened his ear. But rather in English, he listened. Rien ne remuait dans la maison. Nothing moved in the house. Yes, bouger and remuer. Well, there is a slight difference, but in this context, we can both translate them by moving. So nothing moved in the house. Le bruit du gond rouillé n'avait éveillé personne. So the noise of the rusty hinge, gond, this was the hinge, had not waken up anybody. You know, ne personne in French means nobody. It's not a person. When it's a person, it's une personne. So nobody woke up. Ce premier danger était passé, mais il y avait encore en lui un affreux tumulte. So the first danger had passed, but there was still in him, so inside Jean Valjean, a terrible, could we say chaos? You can also say tumult. It's also an English word, but he was still very, very chaotic inside himself because he had been so scared because of the noise. Il ne recula pas pour... sorry, there I start again. Il ne recula pas pourtant. And pourtant means nevertheless. He did not recule, step back. Même quand il s'était cru perdu, il n'avait pas reculé. So even when he had thought himself lost, he had not stepped back. Now, you will see, and I've said it before, that all the reflexive verbs in French are conjugated with être. So, he had believed himself. The had in English is were in French. So all those reflexive verbs are conjugated with the verb to be. If you have questions, don't hesitate, ask me. Il ne songea plus qu'à finir vite. So he thought, ne plus, only, no, that's not what it is. He didn't think anymore than to finish quickly. So the only thing that sprang into his mind was, I have to get out of this quickly. Il fit un pas et entra dans la chambre. So he took, in French it says he made a step and entered in the room. So now he is in the room next door, which is the room of the bishop. Cette chambre était dans un calme parfait. This room was in a perfect calmness. On y distinguait, ça et là, des formes confuses et vagues qui, au jour, étaient des papiers épars sur une table. Let's translate already till here, because, you know, we have, again, those very, very long sentences, typically French. So, one distinguished there, so one could see, distinguished but could see. Ça et là means here and there. Confused and vague forms or shapes, which au jour, yes, means during daytime, but it really means by daylight, were scattered papers. Épars means a bit everywhere. Scattered papers on a table. Des in-folio ouverts. In-folio, that's a Latin word. So folded folders that were open. Des volumes empilés sur un tabouret. And here, volume, well, it means volume, but it's a book. Books that were stacked, so stacked books on a stool. Un fauteuil chargé de vêtements, so a armchair full of clothes. Un prie-dieu, and I think un prie-dieu, I don't know the exact word, but I think you can say the same in English, although I sometimes hear the word a kneeler, you know, where you kneel down to pray, but it really says a pray God, et qui, à cette heure, n'était plus que des coins ténébreux et des places blanchâtres. And which, at this hour, so this time, weren't more than shadowy corners and whitish, blanchâtre means whitish places. So the only thing he sees in the room, it's some dark and lighter spots, and then the things he just described. Jean Valjean avança avec précaution en évitant de se heurter aux meubles. So Jean Valjean went forwards. Avancer means to go forwards with, yes, you can say with precaution or with care, carefully, while avoiding to hurt himself, to hurt or to bump into the furniture. Il entendait au fond de la chambre la respiration égale et tranquille de l'évêque endormi. So he heard at the bottom, or maybe here rather in the back of the room, the equal and calm breathing, respiration is respiration, breathing of the sleeping bishop. Il s'arrêta tout à coup. So he stopped, tout à coup means all at once. He stopped. Il était près du lit. He was near the bed where the bishop was sleeping. Il y était arrivé plus tôt qu'il n'aurait cru. He had arrived there. And you see the verb arrive, arriver in French, is also conjugated with the verb to be. If you want to know which verbs are conjugated with to be in French, please let me know and I will explain to you. So he had arrived there earlier than he would have believed. So walking in the room and then all at once, he was already near the bed. La nature mêle quelquefois ses effets et ses spectacles à nos actions avec une espèce d'à-propos sombre et intelligent, comme si elle voulait nous faire réfléchir. So, nature mingles or mixes sometimes these effects and and images with our actions. So the light effects and our actions are sometimes mixed with a kind of dark and intelligent apropos precision, as if but she, it's nature, it's la nature. So in English we will say it, as if it wanted to make us reflect or think. Depuis près d'une demi-heure, un grand nuage couvrait le ciel. So you will understand immediately, but since more or less half an hour, a big cloud covered the sky, le ciel, the sky. Au moment où Jean Valjean s'arrêta en face du lit, ce nuage se déchira, comme s'il l'eût fait exprès. Let's already translate that. So, at the moment, and in French you say at the moment where, and not at the moment when. You see, at the moment where, when Jean Valjean stopped en face du, in front of the bed, this cloud was ripped or torn apart, déchiré, ripped apart, as if it had been done exprès on purpose, et un rayon de lune traversant la longue fenêtre vint éclairer subitement le visage pâle de l'évêque. And a ray of moon, a ray of moonshine, the moonshine maybe, crossed the long window and came, éclairer, illuminate suddenly the pale face of the bishop. Il dormait paisiblement. He slept peacefully. So you see, he's sleeping peacefully, and then all at once, Jean Valjean comes in front of the bed and the sky opens. Il était presque vêtu dans son lit à cause des nuits froides des Basses Alpes. Yes, I will first read on. D'un vêtement de laine brune qui lui couvrait les bras jusqu'aux poignets. So he was almost dressed in his bed. Because of the cold nights of the Basses Alpes, the Basses Alpes, it's a part of the Alps, it's mountains in France. So he is dressed with let's say, a robe in brown wool, which covered him, the arms, up to the wrists, poignet. Poignet is wrist, so up to his wrists. Sa tête était renversée sur l'oreiller dans l'attitude abandonnée du repos. So his head was renversé, means like thrown backwards on the pillow in the abandoned attitude of rest. So he is totally peacefully, totally, well, resting in his bed. Il laissait pendre hors du lit sa main ornée de l'anneau pastoral et d'où étaient tombées tant de bonnes œuvres et de saintes actions. So he let hang out of the bed his hand ornée. Well, we could say decorated, but maybe in this case it would rather be like adorned with the pastoral ring. And from where, and I think now they are talking about his hand, from where had fallen, and you see that tomber is also conjugated with the verb to be, had fallen so many good works and saint actions. Toute sa face s'illuminait d'une vague expression de satisfaction, d'espérance et de béatitude. So his whole face was illuminated with a vague expression of satisfaction, of hope, and of, well, beatitude is also an English word, but maybe we could say happiness, peacefulness. Okay, we're going to the next page. So here it says, c'était plus, it was more, but let's see what says the next page. We're on page 49. It was more qu'un sourire et presque un rayonnement. So it was more than a smile and almost a, well, rayonnement, it's like radiation, you know, it's like the moon or the sun shining. Il y avait sur son front l'inexprimable réverbération d'une lumière qu'on ne voyait pas. So there was on his front, is his forehead, the unspeakable reflection or yes, inexprimable. You cannot express yourself. You cannot say it. The unnamed maybe reflection of a light qu'on ne voyait pas, that one didn't see. So there was really something very light in him. L'âme des justes pendant le sommeil contemple un ciel mystérieux. This is really a very philosophical sentence, and it means the soul of the just. The just means the people who are just and who are fair and who do good things during their sleep contemplates a mysterious sky. So it's as if through this light which is shining from him, you can feel how good he is. That's really what the writer is saying. Un reflet de ce ciel était sur l'évêque. A reflection of this sky was on the bishop. C'était en même temps une transparence lumineuse, car ce ciel était au-dedans de lui. So it was at the same time a luminous transparency because this sky was inside him. Au-dedans de was inside him. Ce ciel, c'était sa conscience. So this sky, it was really his conscience. Au moment où le rayon de lune vint se superposer, pour ainsi dire, à cette clarté intérieure, l'évêque endormi apparut comme dans une gloire. Because you see at once the sky is opening and this light is coming in. And so at the moment where, you remember in French you say the moment where and not when, the moonshine came to overlap, pour ainsi dire, could we say like that? overlap with this interior light, the sleeping bishop appeared as in a glory. He appears glorified. Cela pourtant resta doux et voilé d'un demi-jour ineffable. So, this, nevertheless, stayed soft. So all this was very soft. It was not like a sharp light, because it was during the night, a soft and veiled light of a half day. This is not a half day. It's a half light, a dignified half light. Okay, so we don't have the full light of the day. We have the half day, which means half light. I hope you're still following. It's not very easy. It's a lot of description, but I know you can do it. Cette lune dans le ciel, cette nature assoupie, ce jardin sans un frisson, cette maison si calme, l'heure, le moment, le silence ajoutaient je ne sais quoi de solennel et d'indicible au vénérable repos de ce sage. Yes, the sentence is not finished, but I think it's already long enough. So we go until there. So this moon in the sky, this sleeping nature, assoupi means like you fell asleep, this garden without a frisson, trembling or a shudder, this house so calm, the time, the moment, the silence, added I don't know what of dignified, well, you could say solemn feeling, and indicible, also dignified to the rest, vénérable. It also means dignified, to the dignified rest of this sage is this wise man. So everything, all the parameters were there, everything added to the dignity of this sleeping wise man. Et enveloppait d'une sorte d'auréole majestueuse et sereine ses cheveux blancs et ses yeux fermés, cette figure où tout était espérance et où tout était confiance, cette tête de vieillard et ce sommeil d'enfant. So N, surrounded by a kind of majestic, could we say stardust? Majestic and serene stardust. His white hair and his closed eyes, this face where everything was hope and where everything was confidence and trust, this head of the old man and the sleep of a child. So everything was in there. Old man sleeping, gray hair, but he was sleeping like a child, so innocent, so free of bad things. I hope you understand, and please don't hesitate to ask questions. We're going to the last part. Il y avait presque de la divinité dans cet homme ainsi auguste à son issue. So there was almost divinity in this man, so noble. À son issue means without his knowledge, because he was sleeping. So without him knowing, but there was something divine in this noble man who was sleeping. Jean Valjean, lui, était dans l'ombre, son chandelier de fer à la main, debout, immobile, effaré de ce vieillard lumineux. So Jean Valjean, he was in the dark, his chandelier, or yes, chandelier of iron, so his iron chandelier in his hand, standing up, not moving, frightened of this old man, this luminous or illuminated old man. Jamais il n'avait rien vu de pareil. Never he had seen nothing, in English rather, anything like that. De pareil, like parallel to that, but it means something like that. And vu, of course, that's he had seen. Seen, it's the past of voir. Ok, cette confiance l'épouvantait. So this trust or confidence terrified him. Le monde moral n'a pas de plus grand spectacle que celui-là. So the moral world has not a more grand spectacle. Yeah, but spectacle, it really means like a show than this one. And what was this grand show? Une conscience troublée et inquiète, parvenue au bord d'une mauvaise action et contemplant le sommeil d'un juste. So what was this great thing he was seeing, this great show? It's the troubled and worried conscience. Parvenu au bord, which had arrived or come to the edge of, is it to the edge of, au bord d'une mauvaise action? Yes, at the edge of a bad action. So he wanted to do a bad action, but he came and contemplated the sleeping of a just or a wise person. Those two opposites together. So this is really, as he says, the biggest show you can see in the moral world. Last part, I hope you're still there. I hope not everybody has left. Ce sommeil dans cet isolement et avec un voisin tel que lui avait quelque chose de sublime qu'il sentait vaguement mais impérieusement. So this sleep, in this isolation, and with a neighbor like him, had something sublime or beautiful that he felt vaguely, but imperatively, which means like it was almost commanding, a commanding feeling. Nul n'eût pu dire ce qui se passait en lui, même pas lui. So nobody would have been able to say what se passait, happened inside him. Not even he himself. So there was a lot of things going on inside this man, but nobody could have said what, and even not he himself. Pour essayer de s'en rendre compte, il faut rêver ce qu'il y a de plus violent en présence de ce qu'il y a de plus doux. So to try to s'en rendre compte, to understand and to comprehend, one must dream or see in your head, imagine what there is of the most violent in the presence of what there is the most soft. So imagine the most violent and the softest person together, and then you have described this situation. That's what the writer is saying. Sur son visage même, on n'eût rien pu distinguer avec certitude. On his face itself, one would have been able to distinguish or to see rien, nothing, with certainty. C'était une sorte d'étonnement hagard. It was a kind of wild astonishment. Il regardait cela. He looked at that. Voilà tout. That's it. I hope you understand what the writer is saying. And then, mais quel était, but which was, but then the rest we will have to wait until next week, hoping that we were enough people today so that we continue reading, but I'm quite convinced because I count on you and I know I have the best community of the whole web. See you later. Bye bye.